Hello, yogis. Welcome, welcome to our Friday Empower Yin class. So this month we are focusing on our yogic philosophy and the 8 limbs of yoga. And each class we're applying one or two or some of the 8 limbs. And in our yin practice, we're focusing on the yamas. And the yamas are moral disciplines. They really are what we can use to govern our relationship to the world outside of us. So I've chosen a posture that I feel represents each of the 5 yamas. And that's the postures that we're going to use as we move through our yin class. For today's class, I would recommend having a blanket and a block. The blanket is going to go underneath our shins and our legs. We'll use it maybe in a couple other ways. Now, with props in our yin practice, you want to have whatever you need to make your body feel supported so that you can hold that stillness for a certain period of time. In our yin, we come into the pose, we come to our edge where we feel that sensation, we stop, we breathe, we observe. It's about stillness. And we want to come to a place not to the fullest expression of the posture where we're in that deep sensation. We're wanting to come to a place and leave room for us to unfold into that posture a little bit more. So that's something that makes yin very unique. And we're really working our connective tissues, our more plastic tissues, not just the muscles that are elastic and love to stretch. We're working more of our connective tissues. So we're going to start today's practice in something called melting heart. So melting heart, you can either come into your child's pose with your toes together, knees apart, and then walk your finger forward. Or you can have your hips elevated and then walk your fingers forward, letting your forehead rest down. I'm going to have the hips elevated. So this is kind of starting more in puppy pose than it is child's pose. And I invite you to sink the hips back, creating elongation through the side body. And then bend into the elbows and bring the hands into prayer above the head. And notice the sensation that you feel through the shoulders as you do that. Now, if you're in your child's pose, maybe just your hips are sunk back a little bit more, knees are out wide, and then still keeping the hands in the same position, that melting heart. So whichever variation you chose, bring your awareness to that heart space and let your chest sink into the floor and start to become aware of your breath. Feeling your inhale expand and your exhale release. Feel your inhale expand and your exhale release. So the first of the yamas is the commitment to not cause harm, to create no harm, to cause no harm to others. So this to me is probably one of the most self-explanatory, but if you reflect on different ways that you can cause harm to others. So it's not only physical harm, committing to not causing physical harm to others, and it isn't just people, it's also animals, bugs, Mother Nature, plants, and whenever possible, right? So it's not like you can't walk on the grass because you might be harming the blades of grass. It's more, to me, making the commitment to causing no harm as often as possible. And knowing that we are connected to nature, we are one with nature. And so when we harm others, when we harm nature, we are harming ourselves as well. So we can cause harm with our words, with our actions. We can cause harm through not being considerate of others, not considering how our actions might affect them,
And the reason I chose melting heart is because I believe that as we open up through our heart, this limb or this yama becomes naturally a part of our fabric. It becomes naturally a part of who we are. When our heart is open, we don't want to harm others. When our heart is open, we are considerate of others. We are aware of our actions, aware of our words. We are aligned with that heart space and living with love. And when we come from a place of love, when our actions come from a place of love, we can be confident that we are not intentionally harming others. So ahimsa is the word, and it means non-harming. So I invite you to reflect on a time where maybe you did harm someone, and even if it was unintentional. I truly believe that we are all doing the best we can with the understanding and knowledge that we have in the moment. And when we're living from that open heart space and making decisions from that open heart space, we can feel really confident in not harming and in living with that and by that principle. Let's take a few more breaths here, allowing our chest to sink a little bit more into the floor.
Ahimsa. Ahimsa. Let your hands come down to the mat. Walk your hands towards your body. And we're going to shift ourselves over onto our right cheek and sweep our legs out in front of us. Working our way down onto our backs. If you want to bring the blanket with you so that it can be a nice little comfort underneath your low back, feel free to do that. And we're going to come all the way down onto our backs, bringing our right knee up into our rib cage. Let it fall out. And then we're going to guide it across in a supine twist. Guide it across in a supine twist. You may want to have your block there to support that knee. And then what we're going to do is bend into the extended leg and grab that foot if that's accessible. So this is a twist, and this is called cat pulling the tail. So we're twisting through the torso. We're feeling this potentially through our quad, a nice quad stretch. And the next is Satya. Satya, and that means truthfulness. So when a cat is pulling its tail, I feel that that is the cat playing a trick on itself. So, you know, when a cat chases its own tail or a dog chases its own tail, it's thinking that that is not its tail, that it's something else. So to me, cat pulling the tail kind of signifies non-truth. And Satya is a commitment to truth. It's a commitment to speaking your truth, to living your truth, to accepting truth, to moving and flowing with truth, and whatever that means to you. So every person, I believe, has a different truth. And when we create space in our lives to know and accept our own truth, we create space in our lives to accept others' truths. It's not always easy, especially when we feel very convicted to and connected or attached to our truth, especially if someone else's truth is very different. We want to create the space, the knowing, the trust, that there is room for many different truths. Let's connect to our breath and send the breath deep into the belly. Reflecting on truth. When we speak truth and express truth, we never have to be worried about the stories that we share or what we share. We don't have to keep track of what did I tell this person or what did I tell that person? Being fully aligned with truth. It creates an ease in our lives, an ease in expression. An ease in existence. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Reflecting on truth. Satya. Satya. Let's extend the left leg out, bring the right leg back through center, pull it into the front line. Let's extend it out, pull it back in, extend it out, pull it back in, let it come along onto the floor, recenter the hips, maybe move the block to the opposite side, pulling the left knee up around the rib cage into the armpit, give it a squeeze, take a deep breath in. On your exhale, guide your knee across your body, find that block, bend into the right leg, grab for that toe, and find a position that you can sustain and maintain. This is such a good quad stretch in my body. Maybe it's the same for you. That is my truth in this moment. I invite you to reflect on if there's anywhere in your life that you would like to express your truth. Maybe there's a part of your life where you're not feeling fully congruent with your truth. I invite you to just reflect here. Let your body sink into this shape. Connect to your breath, inhales and exhales through the nose. Staying curious as to how you can express more truth. How you can offer truth to others in a kind and compassionate way. How you can accept the truth of others. Creating the space, even if their truth is different. I should say, especially if their truth is different. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Extend the right leg out long, bring the left leg through center, take a moment, pull it in, and then extend, bring it back in, extend, bring it back in, extend, and let it press yourself up. into a seated position. And we're going to tuck our right foot into our body. Now you can use your block to support that leg. You don't have to, but you can. And then inhale your arms up and exhale, fold forward. Coming into half butterfly. And the next of the yamas is Asteya. And this is a commitment to not stealing. And I thought that half butterfly is a reflection of not stealing because it's only half. So are we taking the other half? Are we stealing the other half of the butterfly, stealing the butterfly wing? So it's not just the obvious of not stealing items, but it's also not stealing others' joy. It's also not stealing other people's time. When we practice non-stealing, we are making very aware choices. We are being considerate of others' time, of others' feelings. We're not taking what doesn't belong to us, their happiness. We're also not taking their pain. We're not taking their struggle. There is so many ways that this manifests in life. Let's walk our hands back toward our body. Extend the left leg out. You can switch the block to the other side. Tuck the left leg in, finding that block. Inhale, get nice and tall, and then exhale, hinge forward, again to a place where you feel sensation, maybe not the fullest expression, maybe backing yourself out. Now, I invite you to reflect in your own life as to when and where in your life have you felt like you've stolen? Or maybe where have you felt that something has been taken from you? Asteya. Asteya. Maybe you feel that your time was taken. Maybe you feel that your joy was taken. And maybe there's space to forgive and let go. And maybe there's space for accountability as to how you could have made different choices as well. And that goes with the interactions outside of ourselves and the interactions within ourselves. If you're really happy and excited about something, let yourself be really happy and excited about something. Sometimes I think about when others are struggling and how I don't want to share my joy when someone else is struggling. Or if I'm struggling, I don't want to share my struggle. I think I can work through it all on my own. And I'm actually stealing the opportunity from someone to support me and to love me and to show me love. So there's so many different ways to look at these very simple concepts. Let's walk our hands back toward our body, extending the left leg out. Let's inhale the arms up, exhale, fold forward, kind of balancing out those hips. We're going to use our block again as we come into a supported bridge pose. So come down all the way to your back. Plant your feet on the floor, hip width distance apart. Lift your hips up, place the block underneath your back at whatever height setting you feel like you need today. You can shimmy your shoulders underneath your chest and maybe tuck your chin to your chest as you keep your gaze straight up the front line of your body. The next is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya. Now, traditionally, the translation is abstinence, but more modern translation has revealed moderation. So moderation in everything that we do. And the interesting thing about moderation is that moderation is different for every individual. So even when it comes to our yoga practice, is doing 15 classes per week moderation for you? When it comes to the food that we ingest, when it comes to what we intake as drinks, when it comes to what we share, when it comes to how much time we spend with others. Moderation. Is there anywhere in your life where you feel that you could bring in more moderation? For me, I actually like the term abstinence because there are certain things that I am committed to not having in my life, and that is abstinence. So for example, alcohol is something that I am committed to not having in my life. I am abstinent from alcohol. I am abstinent from meat products. I abstain from ingesting meat products. Are there other things, if there are unhealthy relationships that you have in your life, toxic relationships, you can abstain from those relationships. Any kind of actions that are not congruent or aligned, you can abstain from those actions. So it can be abstaining from doing harm, from offering non-truth, from lying, from stealing. All of these components, all of these yamas, we can abstain from or practice abstinence toward. Now, I invite you to reflect in this moment if there is something in your life that you would like to stop. It could be complaining, to abstain from complaining. It could be, what else? What else comes up for you that you would like to practice abstinence toward? And I chose bridge pose because when we decide to abstain from something, we need support in our life. And sometimes we need a bridge to get from where we are to where we want to be, especially if it is something like maybe alcohol or other bad habits that are harmful. And so sometimes we need a bridge to get from where we are to where we want to be. And to me, a supported bridge is exactly the physical representation of where we are to where we want to be. Sometimes we need that bridge and we need that support. So I thought that this was a perfect pose for that. And let's press our feet into the floor, lifting our hips, letting the back come down nice, slow. Take a moment here, really let the tailbone sink in, maybe shift the knees from side to side. It might also feel good to pull the knees into the chest and rock them side to side. Then we're going to extend our legs long, our arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in and really stretch as if you're going the opposite direction with your feet and your hands. Let your body stay on the floor. Inhale, inhale. Exhale, let your body stay on the floor. Inhale. Exhale, let's come into banana pose. Bring your toes or your hands to the right, opening up through the left side body. So this is called banana pose. And the final yama is Aparigraha. Gamara. Aparigraha. Aparigraha. And it means non-hoarding. So I chose banana pose because you want to share your bananas. You don't want to hoard your bananas. I thought that was kind of a funny connection. So non-hoarding is, to me, from the opposite side, is believing in abundance, believing that there is enough for everyone, and knowing that you have enough to share and give. To me, when I think about hoarding, it's about clearing out clutter. It's about getting rid of what you no longer need. Practicing Aparigraha. As I said in previous videos, I'm probably butchering these names so bad, or these words. But you just do your best. Take a deep breath in, breathe into the side body. See if you can shift your hands and your feet a little bit more to the right. Non-hoarding. What can you let go of? What can you let go of? Where can you believe in your life in more abundance? Let's come back through center. Inhale, lengthen it, center, find that neutral space. And then exhale, feet come to the left, hands come to the left, opening up through the right side body, banana pose. Don't hold your hands. Leave the bananas alone. Believe in abundance. Be grateful for your day. Non-hoarding. What can you let go of? There's an alternative, the truth, the truthful. The think about Asteya. Breathe into the side body. Lift your body back through center. Let go. Inhale. Lengthen from fingertip to toe. Roll your fingers, roll your wrists, roll your ankles, roll your toes. Let your hands come down by your side. Take a deep breath in. Full breath out. And I will recap the yamas as we're here in our final resting pose. So we have Ahimsa, which is the commitment to not harm. We have Satya, which is the commitment to truth. We have Asteya, which is the commitment to not steal. We have Brahmacharya, which is the commitment to abstinence or moderation. And then we have Aparigraha, which is non-hoarding or letting go. These are the yamas when it comes to the yogic philosophy of the 8 limbs. Non-harming, non-stealing, truthfulness, abstinence, and non-hoarding. Let's take a deep breath in, full breath out. Let's make an internal commitment to allow these disciplines to guide us, to allow these moral disciplines to be what we live by. Pull your knees into your chest, gently rock side to side. Grab the backs of your knees and rock yourself all the way up into a seated position, cross-legged. Press your palms together and tuck your chin to your chest. Thanking yourself for showing up for your practice. Thanking yourself for learning more about yogic philosophy. Thanking the gurus who have come before us, who have laid out the path for us to learn and be the best versions of ourselves, to align with our highest self. Thank you so much for being here today, for sharing in this space and allowing me to share this practice with you. It is always my honor. The light, the love, the wisdom in me sees, honors, reflects, and encourages. The light, the love, the wisdom in you. Namaste. I hope to see you again on your mats very, very soon. And until then, may your light be your guide. Mwah.